This is section 2 of unit 3, loans. The quote here is another quote by Benjamin Franklin. It is, "Lend money to an enemy and thou wilt gain him, to a friend and thou wilt lose him." So it's indicating again some of the precautions about loaning money to people. Objectives are to read monthly payments from a table, to compute monthly payments using a formula, and to compute interest on loans. Here are some key terms or vocabulary. Promissory note is an agreement to borrow money. Principal is the amount you borrow. Cosigner, and this gets to be important, especially as those of you going off to college. This person agrees to pay back the loan if the borrower is unable to do so, okay? So this is a lot of cases. This is college loans where the student doesn't have a ready source of income, doesn't have a lot of assets. He needs a cosigner. Life insurance, when a creditor often requires a borrower to have that will cover the loan in the event the borrower dies before the loan is paid. So some creditors require you to carry life insurance because they want protection in case you die before the loan is paid off. Prepayment privilege. This is something that is on most loans that I've come across. This allows the borrower to make payments before the due date to reduce the amount of interest. Say it's a 2-year loan, you may want to pay it off in a year, and that will save you interest. This is also true with mortgages. Prepayment penalty. This agreement requires borrowers to pay a fee if they wish to pay back an entire loan before the due date, okay? Wage assignment. This is a voluntary deduction from an employee's paycheck used to pay off debts. The key word here is voluntary, okay? Wage garnishment, however, is an involuntary form of wage assignment, often enforced by a court order. And then lastly, balloon payment. This is the last monthly payment on some loans, and it can be much higher than the previous payments. All right, so let's look at an example. What is the monthly payment for a $4,000 2-year loan with an APR of 4%? So let's look at the table here. Our principal here is $4,000. This is a 2-year loan, so we're going to want this column here. And with an APR of 4%, so here's our 4% right here. And this comes out to be 43.425. Now that's the payment per $1,000. So since this is $4,000, we use the formula down here to come up with the payment, monthly payment of $173.70. So here's how we can use these charts. These charts are always based on $1,000, okay, or most of the time based on $1,000. So you have to take whatever you get for a number here and multiply it times the number of thousands. So here's another example. What is the total amount of the month? Total amount. Now this is a little different here. The total amount of the monthly payments for a $4,000 2-year loan with an APR of 4%. So same deal as before, but now we want to know the total amount of the monthly payment. So what is the finance charge for a $4,000 2-year loan? All right, so again, we go to the chart. It's a 2-year loan, 4%. There's our same figure we had before. So the monthly payment we already calculated, that's $173.70. And the previous example, we totaled up all the payments and we came out with $4,168.80. So therefore the finance charge is going to be the amount you actually had to pay minus the amount that you borrowed. And this simply comes out to be $168.80 finance charge for borrowing the $4,000. So now let's look at a car loan. Mark bought a new car. The total amount he needs to borrow is $28,716. He plans on taking out a 4-year loan at an APR of 3.12%. What is the monthly payment? So in this case, we're not going to use a chart. We're actually going to use a formula here. And this is the formula for monthly payments, okay? Where M is equal to the monthly payment, P is equal to the principal or amount that you borrow, R is the interest rate, again as a decimal, and T is the number of years, okay? So it's a fairly complex looking formula, but if you plug everything in and use your calculator, you can come up with the monthly payment. All right, so let's see what we got here. The amount he's borrowing, the principal, is $28,716. So that's P, the principal. It's a 4-year loan, so that's T, the number of years. And the APR is 3.12%, so that's the interest rate. But remember, we have to convert this to a decimal, so it's going to be 0.0312. All right, we plug that into the formula to calculate what the monthly payment is. And if you use your calculator, this looks a little ugly, but if you carefully use your calculator, you can come out with the monthly payment of $637.13. All right, so let's look at another example. Find the monthly payment for a $1,000 1-year loan at an APR of 2.5%. Well, most tables aren't going to give you the 2.5%. They're going to give you a whole number of percent. So you've got to use the formula in this case. All right, so the principal here, the P is 1,000. It's a 1-year loan, so T is 1. And R is the APR. Now remember, it's 2.5%, but convert that to a decimal, so it's 0.025. Plug that into this formula here for the monthly payment, and use your calculator, and you come out with the monthly payment is $84.40. All right, last example. Natasha needs to borrow $400 until her next paycheck to purchase a wedding gift. All right, so here's a case where she's going to use somebody who's not necessarily that reputable. She goes to Friendly Fred's loan store, okay? So she's not going to a bank. She's going to this loan guy who basically gives her a loan until her next paycheck. Friendly Fred lends her the $400 for 3 weeks, at which time Natasha pays it back in full. There is no collateral required, so the APR is relatively high, okay? Fred charges her $70 interest for the 3 weeks. What is the APR for this loan to the nearest 10%? All right, so let's look at this, okay? So we got a formula here. The payday APR, okay? We are going to take the loan interest divided by the loan amount divided by the loan length in days divided by 365. Okay, these are usually short-term loans, so we have to take and look at this in terms of loan length in days divided by 365. That's the portion of a year it is. And of course, we're going to multiply it by 100 because we're going to get a decimal answer. And look what we get. The APR for this loan to the nearest 10%, well, actually, I could round this to 300%, but I didn't even round it. It's over 300% is the loan, is the APR for this loan. So these are not good places to get loans from. You're going to be paid very high, and it says relatively high, or you could change that to be extremely high interest rate.